you own it. Let every mile bring a smile, yeah.
Welcome back to the Road to Life Podcast, episode 10.
Woo! We're getting there.
Yeah. 10 in. We're veterans at this point.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today, McKay?
Today we're talking about celebrations.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was for you, Greg.
That was for everybody.
Greg says he wants some more singing from Bennett, and
Yeah.
he just got a little more.
You got it, and so did everybody else, and I apologize, and I apologize ahead of time for any future singing that goes on in this podcast.
It's like you can't hear the word celebrate and not sing that little clip.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's my thing. So, but celebrations.
And it's great because we talk about celebrations a lot, so I do get that clip from you on the regular.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's actually a really opportune time to talk about celebrations, given that we're heading into the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's right.
I think it's something that we do talk about a lot, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, it's relatively new
Mm-hmm.
to really, what's the word I'm looking for?
Embrace it.
Embrace. Yeah, that's the word. It is. Embrace celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my nature. It's not something that comes naturally to me to always be celebrating,
Mm-hmm.
but it's super important. I'm realizing that as we've gone on this journey and learned more and more, I'm realizing how important it is, and how it can really impact your relationships too.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about that.
I think, to your point, it didn't come naturally to me either.
No.
And I think, as recovering perfectionists,
Yeah.
and perfection being, actually an impossible ideal, if you never actually hit the perfection, you never actually get to celebrate. And of course, you never hit perfection because
Yeah.
we're not perfect beings.
Yeah.
And so you never felt like you were allowed to, or I
Wor-
never
worthy
felt like
of
I
it.
was exactly
Worthy of
allowed
the
to
celebration.
celebrate.
And also being I think we've talked about it before, driven, high achievers. It always was to me okay, on to the next thing. I've achieved that. It's okay, cool. But I was supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Now I got to get to the next
Or
thing, because
just
that was just a stepping stone to the bigger thing.
Check. Okay,
Yeah.
that's done. Next
Yeah.
thing. And I don't know what the full root of that is, but that is 100% both of our default
Yeah.
positions. It's
Yeah.
like, check, yeah, okay, that's good, next. And I don't know if that comes from the corporate world where it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Or
certainly
just our upbringing or what, but
I don't know what the root of it is, but that is.
But when we do that though, we really neglect a really cool part of life, in that but you just achieved something cool, even if it was
Little.
relatively small.
Mhm.
It's still something that on the way to the bigger thing that you did, and by not celebrating it, you're actually doing yourself a huge disservice.
Well,
you're not building momentum.
You're never going to get to the big wins
Yeah.
without the little wins.
They keep you motivated. They
And
build
so
momentum.
Celebrating the little wins keeps you going.
Yeah.
It builds momentum. And momentum is what pushes you through obstacles. If you have no momentum and you hit an obstacle,
You give up.
you're going to have a really hard time.
Yep.
If you've got lots of momentum and there's a brick wall in front of
You
you,
push through that.
you're going to bust through that brick wall.
Yep.
And so the more momentum that you have, the more likely you are to achieve all your really big goals, because you're smashing all the little goals along the way and you're celebrating all of those little goals along the way. And so it was interesting because, like I said, not my default way of operating. And
honestly sometimes have to really be intentional with my mindset around celebrations. It's something I still have to force. It's not my default setting. I
Well,
still have to force myself to it.
on Thursday of last week, we
Yeah.
had 2 or 3 decent wins on Thursday.
Yeah.
No giant goal achieved,
Yes.
but for sure some things worth celebrating.
Yeah.
And I think we had to have a conversation that it was like, hey, let's not lose sight of the wins today. We didn't hit a giant win that day, but we had a bunch of little wins, and our default modus operandi is to just, on to the next. And it's no, pause.
Yeah.
Let's
let's acknowledge this.
Let's acknowledge the things we accomplished today because they're important.
And I think where this really started to change for me, where I really started to realize the importance of celebrating, was last spring, summer, when we were training for the marathon.
100%.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Nike running app, I totally, both of us, totally recommend if you're into running or you're training for any sort of distance race, the Nike training app has all kinds of plans, 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, all kinds of different runs in there. And one of the really cool things about there is they're guided runs, so that you have a coach in your ear talking you through these different runs.
And you'll never guess the name of Nike running global head coach.
Yeah.
It's Coach
Who is it?
Bennett.
Yeah, it is.
Crazy, right?
What a guy.
And so last year,
he's awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He is.
He is so good.
I really thoroughly enjoy Coach Bennett from the Nike running app.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I was an active anti-runner until we set this marathon goal that we'll talk about probably in another episode in more detail.
For sure.
But I was, actively not a runner, like in fact an anti-runner. And then these guided runs were really what kept me going and helped me get there. And one of the first guided runs I did, most of them were with Coach Bennett, but this one in particular stood out because we started the run and he's in my ear talking to me and he said, "Hey, celebrate starting the run." And I was like, Like, I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
Why would I celebrate? I've taken 2 steps.
Yeah.
And he continued to say, most of us wait till the end of a run to celebrate.
Yeah.
So you can celebrate the end.
And
you can celebrate finishing at the end.
And let's be honest, how many people thought about going for a run but didn't?
And that was his point exactly.
Right?
Celebrate starting. You told
started.
yourself you were going to go for a run today, and here you are. You've started your run. Celebrate coming through for yourself. Celebrate the beginning at the beginning. Don't wait till the end to celebrate the beginning. Celebrate finishing at the end.
And if you run with a smile on your face with the celebration at the beginning, you run better.
Yeah.
Scientifically proven.
And so that one really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And it's still like front of mind for me all the time.
Totally.
And
so I think it's how this translates for relationships and how it will improve relationships is that celebrate the little things in your relationship, the things, the little milestones, the big milestones, the everything. Celebrate, everything that you could do together. And it builds momentum and it creates such a happy, joyous atmosphere that it creates an energy, a frequency that you're now living in that builds momentum to the next thing.
Every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows.
No.
Life throws curveballs at you regularly. And so to get through the tougher times, because there's always going to be peaks and valleys. And so to get through the tougher times, you need momentum. You need that frequency of celebration. And so if you are celebrating the little things in your relationship, that momentum helps carry you through the tougher times. And that's why we harp on celebrating so much, in everything we do, but in our relationship program specifically, because you need that momentum to pick you up and carry you through.
And not only that, but when you celebrate, other people see it and they can see what's, achievable and they can believe what's available to them.
You can inspire other people with your celebrating if you share it. And so by sharing your celebrations, Facebook groups or any way that you choose to share it,
people see what's possible.
You inspire other people. It makes your celebration, almost more real because you're putting it out for other people to experience as well. So it's vulnerable. So, but it helps other people connect. So you're putting yourself out there, which just further strengthens the feeling of the celebration for you, and it inspires other people to celebrate for themselves.
So literally, if everybody celebrated, the world's just a better place.
100%.
The world's just a better place.
And it's also interesting because we're both, efficiency-oriented people. We're not looking to do things the most inefficient way possible. We're always looking to do things efficiently. And we spend a lot of time talking about celebrating and a lot of time celebrating. And we wouldn't spend the time if we weren't seeing a return on that investment.
Yeah. And I think so the running really going through that process really started the importance of and highlighted the importance of celebrating for me.
Mm-hmm.
But as we were building our business and really joining this entrepreneurial lifestyle and focused on getting help and from other entrepreneurs and understanding, how people are successful,
Mm-hmm.
I learned that they celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other place. That's where it's really more
Yeah.
recently really
Hammered home.
hammered into my brain that this is really that important.
And they're
'Cause
spending
there's some
the
really-
time because it works.
Yeah, there's some really, really successful people who
Spend
will
a lot of time.
spend a lot of time celebrating. And so it was in that community that, I really started to understand the importance of this.
Yeah.
And we've started to adopt it more. And we can see the
Benefit.
the positive benefit from it for sure.
And so a lot of people, we get asked a lot actually, like, well, how do you celebrate? What do you do to celebrate? Like it's actually quite fascinating how often we get asked
Yeah.
about how to celebrate.
Yeah, because I think it's to how we were.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a societal thing. I think people just
It's not
don't-
natural
It's
for
not.
people.
Yeah, and I think people a lot of times are just like, I don't know what's a celebration.
It seems like a waste of time.
Is
Why
it like
would
a
I bother?
birthday party? Like, do we have a cake and candles? Like, people really don't really know how to celebrate
Mm-hmm.
because honestly, what other than like special occasions like birthdays and anniversaries do you really remember celebrating growing up? For me, that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
like you had a birthday cake, an ice cream cake, or a birthday cake or something, and that was that was celebrating.
Ice cream cake if you were lucky.
Yeah, and so I think a lot of people are like, well, what the heck do I do? And it's like, whatever you want, whatever makes you happy.
That's
That's
so
it.
it's impossible to sort of give a
Celebrate
concrete
wrong.
answer.
It's impossible to celebrate wrong.
Impossible to celebrate
Just
wrong.
just do whatever feels right.
Something that you enjoy.
Maybe you just want to put on some music and dance your heart away.
Maybe you want to go for a massage.
Maybe you want to get an ice cream cone.
Maybe you like to go bowling.
Slice of pizza, my go-to. I'm going to be honest with you. Pizza and ice cream. I could celebrate with pizza and ice cream. I can't do it all the time. The amount of times we celebrate now, pizza and ice cream is a no-go. But every now and then, like finishing a marathon or another big thing, I don't know. Pizza and ice cream is my go-to. But
Like,
that may not be for everybody.
moral of the story, it's whatever it is you enjoy.
Mini golf, bowling,
And
whatever.
what we like to do is try to sort of correlate the size of the win to the size of the celebration.
Yes, of course.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, if
Publishing your first podcast does not equal a trip to the Maldives.
yeah, we're gonna save that for a
Unfortunately.
big business goal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to create a connection between the size of the goal, the size of the win, and the size of the celebration.
Totally. And one suggestion that we got from a past client was
Allison.
really interesting was a celebration jar.
Yeah.
This is a really good idea. It's a fantastic
great
idea. Just write down a whole bunch of things that you and your partner love to do. Just absolutely
Brain dump.
love doing. Just write it all down on a bunch of pieces of paper like you were doing drawing names from a hat. Just write it on a bunch of small pieces of paper, fold them up, throw them in a celebration jar, and anytime something cool happens, anytime something worth celebrating comes up, pull something out. And now keep in mind that, you don't want to have the trip to the Maldives in there for when you and your spouse.
These are all small to moderate.
Yeah. You whatever, something small in your life happens and you're booking a trip to the Maldives. To each their own. To each their own. But, I thought it was a really great idea to have a celebration jar.
Excellent idea. So I think
So maybe that's the takeaway is just create your celebration jar, write a whole bunch of little things on some pieces of paper, throw them in a jar, and remember to celebrate when something good happens in your life.
Yeah. And like for most of us, I think we're almost looking for permission to
Yeah.
celebrate.
Yeah.
Consider this your sign, your permission. Like
You're allowed to celebrate.
you're allowed to celebrate the good stuff in your life.
You put your shoes on today and went for a run, celebrate it.
Yeah, you followed through on something you promised yourself you would do.
Yeah.
Celebrate it.
Celebrate it. You and your partner had a conversation that you've been meaning to have for a while, going back a couple episodes, you
Getting real vulnerable.
You threw the challenge flag, you got vulnerable with each other, and you had a conversation. Celebrate that. Maybe it's a movie night, whatever. But just celebrate the milestones in your relationship along the way. It builds momentum in your relationship. It takes your relationship to another level. So I think that's the really important piece in this one is to just really be intentional about celebrating your milestones, as small and big and medium sized as they all are.
It works.
It does.
It's what's going to get you to your bigger goals, celebrating all the milestones, all the little steps along the way. So make your celebration jar.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
Take us away, Bennett.
Yeah, buddy. All right, everybody.
Chat soon.
And have a happy holidays. And don't forget to celebrate the holidays with your family and your friends. It's a great time of year to remember to celebrate. So get out there and...
It feels a little easier this time of year for most people.
Yeah. So use this as the jumping off point to celebrate some things. All right. Peace out.
Road of life, yes, you are.